Good day, everyone. This is All Things Spirituality with Cyril Pilkington. This is not an interview. This is a conversation between two people getting to know about the next person, her beliefs, her spiritual views. And today I have a special guest. She's a friend of mine, and she doesn't believe in any religion, and she goes by the name of Thorn. How are you, Thorn?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. Nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
I've been waiting for this day for so long. So let's get right on it. Can you tell us how did you grow up, your experiences grow up, and then where did you grow up?
So I was born and raised in Greece, and I stayed there until I turned 18, where I came here. So I was raised Greek Orthodox, in the Greek Orthodox faith. And then when I turned 18, I moved here to South Africa, and I came here to work, and eventually I came here to study.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Greek Orthodox, what is it? Is it a church?
Yes, it is it's like a branch of Christianity, but instead of Catholic, they are Orthodox.
Okay. So do you believe in God?
I believe that gods exist.
God exists.
Yeah, gods in general exist,
Okay.
and that the Christian God is just one of those gods.
Okay. So what do you believe in? Because like me, I believe in ancestors. Also believe in God. So what do you believe in?
Well, I do believe that ancestors exist as guides, but generally I believe in energy that's all around us, and that some energy is so intense that it is sentient and it has a name. For example, I'm Greek, so ancient Greek gods would be what if I was to believe in gods, those were the gods I would believe in. For example, Ida is the goddess of marriage and family. So she is the energy that marriage and family has. And if you were to do a working for your family, you would call upon her. But that's the name that my people have given her. So other cultures might have different names for that specific energy and feeling and emotion. So that's what I believe in. I believe that we are surrounded by those energies. Those energies can be sentient, they're very old, and we give them names to understand them.
Wow. So tell me, how was the experience in a Greek Orthodox? It's a Greek Orthodox, eh?
Yeah.
How was your experience there? Did it feel like a church? Was it spiritual? They were practicing rituals?
So it is like any church. It's just like there are tiny things that are not the same. For example, with the Catholics, like how you do your cross and all those things. Like we believe in the God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but I'm not sure if other people also believe in those things exactly. My personal experience, I didn't really like it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't have a lot of fun. I never understood a lot of things, but it's not about the Greek Orthodoxy, it's just the Christian religion in general that never agreed with me, and I didn't agree with it. So while I was raised in that environment, I never felt part of it. I would go to church every Sunday with my family, or sometimes we'd go to church with our school, because Greece is a very religious country. So until a certain age, you would go to you would have the opportunity to go to church with your school. Otherwise, after a certain age, you had more agency. So if you didn't want to, you didn't have to go. And I never felt a connection with the church. I never did. It just wasn't for me.
So, Greece compared to South Africa, what are the comparisons? I know Greece it's a developed country, and us we still a developing country. So let us know, let the people the comparisons between the two.
Well, I don't believe that South Africa is underdeveloped country, first you need to define what a developed country is. And most of people will talk about economy and
healthcare
and that and stuff like that.
infrastructure.
And honestly, I feel in some aspects South Africa isn't really that far behind. For example, you said healthcare. Healthcare here, if you are in need, it will be given to you. But in someone like in the US, it won't. So in some aspects, yes, South Africa still has a lot to learn because technically it is a new country with all the history and everything that happened. But I don't know, I feel that people's cultures and experiences should also account towards if a country is developed or not. And considering how much cultural experience South Africa has, I don't think it's an underdeveloped country. Sure, it is under development. I don't think it's like a backwards country, stuff like that. Compared to Greece, those countries are not the same. Culturally, Greek people are very in tune with their culture, yes. So I do believe that there are a lot of similarities there, but it's just Greece is a different way of life than South Africa. For example, in Greece, I would walk everywhere. Here, I cannot do that. No one really can. No one is safe to walk anywhere. In Greece, yeah.
There's no crime.
No, there is crime. No, I'm not saying that there's no crime. There is crime. It's just it is safer to walk because it is in a culture to walk. You don't. South Africa is a small place. It's not a big continent. Just a small country, and you don't really need a car to go places. You can just take public transport, which is cheaper than here, and you can just go to places. But it's just that the mentality is different. Here, when you want to go somewhere, your first thought is to get a car or to get an Uber. In Greece, we don't have Uber. Well, at least I don't think we do. I think it was introduced and it was just cast out at some point. You don't need to. You just go on public transport and you're fine.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's get on spirituality. So you say you believe in energy.
Yes.
So you believe everyone is energy.
Everyone has energy, is connected to energy.
Okay, so what happens when one becomes sexually intimate? Is there a connection to both those energies or what?
So in order to have control over your energy, you need to put intention in it. So I'm gonna answer with it depends. If you are just having sex with someone, casual sex, you don't have to have any intent in it. Like pleasure is enough. You don't need to connect someone on an intimate level. So you can have energy then, you don't have to have energy then. So it's not really it doesn't follow a strict set of rules. You know?
Okay, so like we spoke earlier on and then you told me that like you practice a craft like ritual. Like,
yes.
Can you let us know about the craft that you practice in?
So I practice the craft, and most people call it witchcraft, but it has existed from way before the concept of the witch existed. People who practice their craft were the healers and the nurses and people who kept everyone safe and healthy. So it is a very ancient practice.
Wow, what is it called?
It's just called the craft. Every culture has its own name for it.
So if one wants to be part of that craft, how does it go about doing?
So first, what I would suggest people do is to look within their culture. I am Greek, so I try to practice what my ancestors did, and then you need to firstly talk to yourself why you want to do it, because not everyone is going to be connected to things, right?
Why do you do it?
I do it because I've always done it. As I said, I was never connected to the church, but I was doing other things. I had other behaviors that people would think was weird. No one really said anything to me. But I actually found out that I was doing it by complete accident. That's why I say that I have been unconsciously practicing it my whole life, but actively only for the last 5 years. I was doing research for a character that I'm writing about who is a witch.
Wow.
And I wanted to bring authenticity to the character. So I started to do research on witchcraft, its history and what people do, only to find out that I do most of those things already. I just hadn't named them.
For example, like just on two of them.
So a very simple thing that people do is people will not call it manifestation. So a way that you want something to be done, you write it down as many times as you need to. Most people do 3 times, and then if you want to keep the energy to you as you write it down, you close the paper towards you, so that you bring everything something to you. If you don't like something, you fold the paper the other side so it goes away from you. I would always light candles when I want something done, and that is calling upon the element of fire to give energy to what you're doing. I would always carve in the candle what I wanted to happen, and I would sit and observe the flame while it burned down. Those are all things that we do in witchcraft.
Okay, so yeah, that was my next question. Like, enlighten us on the actual practice, the rituals. Like, what do you do exactly? Because for sure, someone who's watching now is interested already from what you're saying.
Well, first of all, I need to say, if you are going to do the craft, do not start doing rituals and spells and all those things. Those will come later. You first need to do the theory of it. First, you need to learn what are your beliefs. You cannot just go in there and hope for the best. And you need to be aware of what the craft is. For example, what does it mean to you to practice the craft? That's why I say look first in your culture, because a lot of answers come from culture, and there is more of a connection there. Then, I believe in energy. I also believe in deities, that deities exist. I don't worship those deities, but if I want something, I'm not gonna just demand it. Like if I need Hecate to come and help me, I'm not gonna say, hey, can you just do this for me? You need to first build a relationship with those deities, and then you ask them nicely if they can help you. You don't have to worship them. There are some deities that do need to be worshipped. Like for me, the Christian God is a deity, and in his book he does ask to be worshipped. So you would do that for him. But not every deity wants that. And before you do deity work, you need to do shadow work. You need to talk about you need to talk with yourself and find out what makes you tick. A lot of practitioners of the craft will tell you, do no harm, light and love and those things. But the truth is that we are humans and we are complicated, just like nature is complicated. Like liquid, water.
Like water.
It can give you nourishment, but you can also die in it. Nature has a lot of faces, and so do you. So why do you want to practice the craft? Do you want to do it because it's this new thing that everyone is doing now, which is not a bad thing.
For financial enrichment.
That's fine, but you also need to know if you do a spell to get some money, it's not gonna fall from the sky. Every practitioner I've met and every practitioner I've found online, they always say that you turn to a spell as your last resort. You don't just go for a spell. And also, like if I break my leg, I'm not gonna go and do a spell. I'm gonna go to the doctor. He will put my leg into place, or she will put my leg into place. And if I want to be healed faster, I will do a little spell to aid me with the healing process. So it's not something that you just do to make life easier. If anything, it might make it a bit harder, because you will have to do the shadow work, which you will have to find some uncomfortable truths about yourself. You will have to face your dark self. And then once you do that work, are you still comfortable doing witchcraft, because after that you need to learn about the history of it. It hasn't always been nice, and a lot of people will be a bit biased towards you, because the word witch isn't always a good word to be thought. But and also avoid people who will tell you do no harm, and whatever you do, it's always light and love. Because for me, obviously everything comes from my point of view. To do the craft means to be connected with nature, and nature isn't just loving, but nature isn't only cruel. So you need to encompass all your emotions before you're able to do anything.
So can anyone practice, be part of the craft? Like when I say everyone as in race, black, Asian, white, anyone can practice that.
People of all races have always practiced something. It doesn't have to be something like it doesn't have to be a deity. Like the craft is the reason we have medicine today. That's how it started. It started with someone taking a few plants and crushing them, and now we have pills. So it doesn't always have the magic component in it.
I understand.
Sometimes it's just a process that you need to follow. Anyone can do it, in any religion can do it, or I'm sure there are atheist people who also practice the craft out there, because for me it's like a microscience, like the way you mix herbs and stuff. And if you look at the chemicals in those herbs and what people of the craft say do, those things match. So I believe it's just a science that people haven't learned how to read yet. I don't believe that humans are at the pinnacle of the scientific discovery. I think we have a lot to learn, and that one day we will learn.
Okay, because when I was asking you a question that how do you go about practicing the craft, you told me like one needs to find himself. So my next question is, can you practice other religions like Christianity, Muslim, and then be part of the craft?
So I cannot speak about the religions that I haven't been part of. So
can I practice both? Like, can I do the craft and then be a Muslim?
So from the craft's point of view, you can. Nothing. If you are not restricted to anything. From the Muslim's point of view, I don't know. I haven't read the Quran. I don't know what it says about the craft inside.
Okay, and then were you judged by practicing the craft, like your family, your friends?
Well, the only one in my family who knows is my sister.
Your sister. And then how's the reaction from your sister?
No, she's fine. She's on the agnostic side, so she doesn't really, follow anything.
Okay.
And I think both my parents know, but my mom might be more okay with it than my dad. But my dad is not the person who will stop you from doing things, as long as you don't do it
in front of.
Yeah, in front of him, he's fine. He has seen me with my tarot cards. He has seen the books I buy. He doesn't ask questions when I get some bay leaves to do my thing. He knows that something is up, but it's none of his place.
So where do you get your stuff, like tarot cards and books and bay leaves?
So you can find books and tarot cards. You can actually find on Take a Look.
Take a Look.
Yeah.
You find your stuff on Take a Look.
Yeah, I bought my tarot cards from Take a Look and all my books from Take a Look. Other ingredients like herbs and stuff, you can go to Food Lovers Market. For if your practice is more on the darker side and you use animal parts, you can go straight to people who sell meat and stuff, and you can ask them if they have stuff.
Like what animal parts?
If you want to do a spell that someone won't speak of you, you can get a cow's tongue.
Cow's tongue.
You can cut it, you can write their name and what you want them to stop doing. You can stick it in the tongue, you can sew the tongue up and do whatever else you want to do. If you want to keep a secret, you use a dog's skull, because dogs are very...
Scar?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, dogs are very loyal animals, and they would keep your secrets. So you put the secret in the skull of the dog, and you keep it there, and he will guard your secret. And for other things, like my favorite ingredient that I have is a snake skin.
Okay.
Snakes are associated with rebirth and health and transformation. So I have a friend who knows someone who raises snakes. So whenever they shed, I get some snake skin.
So, in the craft, they spells. Have you done a spell?
Yes, I've done spells.
Okay. Okay. So, my next question is: what if, like, you in a relationship with someone for companionship, and then that someone, he or she is a Christian or a Muslim? Do you judge that somebody, or since he's dead, you can't be in a relationship with them? Like, what's the take on that?
So generally speaking, I don't date people who are deeply in their faith, any faith for that matter. Also, they wouldn't date me. Like, it's not like I avoid them.
I would.
No, it's like because eventually there will be some conflict. Okay, if I'm not wrong, people who follow the Islamic religion, they don't believe that being a witch is a good thing. That's what I've heard. I'm not 100% sure. So they might be okay for a while, but eventually there might be issues that come up. So if they're okay with it, that's fine. But what if their family is not okay with it? And I would never make someone choose between me and their family. So like if I date someone who is a Christian, even though like they are like your everyday one, not like they go to church and stuff like that. If he's Christian by his family, right? And he is okay with me, or she's okay with me being a witch and not going to church and stuff like that. And they might be fine with it, but their family might not. And I would never come between someone and their family. And I would never ask someone to choose between me and their family. So typically, if I find out that they are religious, I just don't engage. I would date, but it's best for both of us. I don't.
Okay. So, do you believe there is life after death?
First, you need to define death.
When you die, your spirit dies. Because usually us, we know, like when you die, your spirit leaves, and then maybe it goes to someone else, or maybe you go to heaven, some they go to hell. Do you believe in this?
So heaven and hell is a Christian concept. Witches don't really believe in heaven and hell unless they are Christian witches.
What do they believe in?
Depends.
When you die, that's it. That's the end of it.
Depends on your culture. Like in my culture, I go to Hades.
You go to?
Hades.
Hades.
That is my culture.
What is Hades?
Hades is the Greek afterlife. So the god Hades is the god of the underworld, and that is his domain. And there are many levels to Hades. People say that the Christian concept of hell was inspired by Hades. So because there are places where you get tormented, that's called Tartarus. And there are places where you just exist as like a ghost of what you were. And there is, I think they call it Elysium now. I'm not 100%, I don't remember its name in Greek. But that's where the heroes go. So I guess since I try to follow my people's beliefs, that's where I would go. I just believe that if I want to stay here, I can stay here as energy. I don't have to go to a certain place, you know? So, like, I don't believe in heaven and hell, because that means that some people are inherently bad and they go to hell, and some people are inherently good and go to heaven. I just believe that we learn to be good and we learn to be bad. I don't believe in sin. I don't believe in being holy.
Or you don't think there's right and wrong? You think someone does? what he
I
wants.
believe that we make right and wrong. I don't believe that any book will tell me what is right and wrong. Right? I make my own morals. And my morals come from empathy for humanity, not from like one of the things a lot of people say when I say I'm a witch is that, and I tell them I don't believe in the Bible, I don't follow it and stuff. They say, then where are your morals from? I don't need a book to tell me not to go on a killing spree, you know. So if the Bible is your source of morals, good for you. But I make my morals based on humans. Like, I'm not going to steal from you because it's common decency not to take from people. You know?
Yeah, it's common decency.
Yeah, I'm not gonna steal from you because stealing is wrong. I think it's wrong because it means I took something from you and I made you feel bad, and I might put you in financial distress, and I don't want that to happen to you.
Okay, so is there like something like a church or institution for witchcrafts? Where do you go and do your rituals and practices? Like,
So the concept of an institution to do your thing, it comes from Christianity, and we don't follow that.
also Muslims, there's a Holy Mecca.
Yeah,
go
well, I don't have that. I practice on my own. If I know other people who practice, we might meet and talk about it. But we don't always have a need to form a coven. You don't have to be part of a coven to be a witch and stuff like that. And now, like in this country, there's nothing that I know of. I know that there might be a market every now and then, but there is no institution for witchcraft because no witch believes the same stuff.
You know why I was asking? I was asking for someone who wants to be part of witchcraft. Obviously, when you want to be part, even if you can get your information on YouTube, you need a practitioner, someone who's going to be there teaching you the ins and outs.
You don't.
You don't need that.
You can find your own path and you can make your own path. If
You can make your own path.
Yes. If you want to follow someone, you can find someone online, or you can look into your culture and see what your culture offers.
Are you there online?
No, I'm not.
Instagram, social media?
I do have a social media, but I don't.
I'm gonna put the link on the description for someone who wants to be part, and then they can DM you, and then yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's so much to witchcraft that no witch has the same views, no witch has the same values. It's not one roof would not be enough to house all of us. So if you want to be a part of something, you don't have to like be there to be part of something. If you are studying it and you know that there are other people who are studying it, you are part of it. You don't have to, like, if you want to be a part and form your own coven and stuff, you can. But it's not something that you require to check in and prove that you're a witch and stuff like that. If you do your work, you are a witch. If you don't do your work and you have an off day, you're still a witch.
Is there levels to it? Like, get to a certain level and then you get to a certain level. Like Masons, there's levels to it. So is there levels to it?
Depends on your coven. Your coven might have like an arch priestess and stuff like that, but it honestly depends on your views and stuff. Okay. Like I know in the US they have the Satanic Church and the Church of Satan, which I'm not sure which one is which, but one of them has Satanists. The other is just by name. It has nothing to do with Satan. It's just the people who practice their craft, and most of them are atheists anyway. It's just that they use the name as symbolism to show that they are not part of their Christian way of.
So if you were there, would you attend that church?
I would, because it's not a church. It's
Okay.
called Church of Satan, but it's not really a church. No one goes there to light candles and stuff. There is no worship and things. It's just people who think like you, and you get to experience how other people do their craft.
What color of the candles do you light up?
It depends on what you want to do. If you're
I
doing
want
a
financial
spell,
enrichment.
then you would use green and gold.
Green and gold.
Green and gold, green or gold, and in those colors.
Wow. And then our executive producer, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so interesting. So you considered as being an atheist?
Since I believe that deities exist, I'm not really an atheist, but I'm still a bit skeptical. So I guess I would be more on the agnostic side.
Okay, so like when you have children, what do you want them to believe in? Like, you want them to be Christians or be part of what you practice?
Well, first, I don't want children, and I'm not having them. So I'm going to answer in general about what I think kids should do. I think all children should be taught about everything. In my school, we had a subject called theology, and it was compulsory, and you learned about many religions, not just yours. So I say for children, they should learn about most of the religions that we know, all of them, but they should also know about the craft. And they should also know about the option to not believe in any of those things. Like, just because I practice the craft, it doesn't mean that's what's best for you. Like, some people just don't have it in them, and that's okay. But some people just don't have in them to believe in anything, and they are atheists, and that's okay. So for me, children should be exposed to a bit of everything, and let them decide when they get older.
So is there sacrifices to it?
What do you mean?
Do you do like sacrifices, like slaughter an animal, or maybe go as far as maybe killing someone?
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I cannot.
But some do that.
They are, but it's mostly in a cultural concept. It's mostly in a cultural concept. Like, it comes from a culture. Like, when my people did their sacrifices and they killed their animal, it wasn't exactly the animal itself they gave to the gods. It was the smoke of the animal that was burning that went to the gods, and they ate the meat of the thing. But like, this practice, like, we call it the Tsiknopempti in Greek. So we have a day that we only eat meat, and it comes from those ancient times. But there's no actual sacrifice happening. You just buy the meat and you do this big fry, and everyone eats meat. But it comes from those days. But I haven't met anyone who sacrifices stuff, and killing someone is bad and illegal. So we don't really do that.
Okay.
People do associate witches with that, and there is a grain of truth in there. Like, we do use blood and stuff like that, but we would never kill someone. I'm sure there are someone, like, everyone has its bad apple, So just like someone could be a pastor who does bad things, there can be a witch who does bad things. It's not like everyone does bad things. Every group of people has done bad things.
So I want to ask, let's say you've been doing it for some time, doing the craft for some time, and then now you want to leave the craft. Is there after effects or?
No. So depends. If you work with a deity, you need to say your goodbyes to that deity. Otherwise, you need to do your inner work, and you can just stop doing it. It's not like something bad will happen to you. You just say goodbye to whoever you were working with. If you were not working with anyone, again, you need to do your inner work to find out why you want to stop. And once you get your answer, just stop.
Okay. Because with me, I've been eating meat for 3 years now, and it's part of spirituality. Like my spirit doesn't need blood. I don't. With me, I don't. It's not like I don't eat meat. I don't eat blood. So, what are the things that you allowed to eat or not in?
That comes from whatever you choose to. So.
Because I heard you talking about there's a day when you eat meat. So I wanna know, like you.
No, that is more of a day of celebration.
What day is it?
It always falls on a Thursday. I just don't remember the exact date. It's just before Apocalypse, which is our version of Halloween.
So you celebrate Halloween?
No, it's more. Again, it comes from ancient times. It's like a remnant of the past, where our people would have celebrations for the god of wine, Dionysus. And it's a time where you wear a mask and you drink a lot of wine and you get to be whoever you want to be while you're wearing the mask. Within reason.
Wear a mask also with the costume.
You get to dress up. Like nowadays, because of how prevalent Halloween is, people adopt Halloween customs. But the ancient practice is to wear a mask and have wine and be merry.
So when you're with someone and then they say, God is good, God is the greatest, do you feel offended?
No, that's your experience. Just because I had a bad experience doesn't mean you will. Just because I never connected with that God, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. If you feel comfortable and loved within your God and stuff, that's good for you. Like, I'm happy for you. I'm not gonna take that away from you.
Okay. Still is so interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so we're gonna put the link in the description. And then I wanna ask, before we wrap things up, what's a perfect world to you? When you say now, the perfect world, what's the perfect world to you?
Okay, first, I don't believe in the concept of perfect. So for me, the most tolerable world would be one where there is no hate for no reason.
No hate for no reason.
Yeah, so we are living in the age of where information is on your fingertips. You can just type in and get an answer. And if someone is like biased and you still have your prejudices against someone, in 2023, where you can learn not to, I think that in the perfect world, people would think before they speak. And if someone has negative feelings, they will towards someone else, they will be able to acknowledge them, like acknowledge their feelings and do some work to figure out why they have those feelings. I think if more people were allowed to be in tune with their emotions, because you have like, I hear a lot, men should not cry and all of those things. If people were allowed to have emotions, I don't think we would be in such a bad state right now. So if people were allowed to just explore themselves more, so I guess in my perfect world, people would be able to do more introspection.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's a perfect answer. That's a perfect answer.
Oh,
I think I needed to hear that.
And
have you experienced hate?
Oh yeah, I have. I have hated people.
In what form?
Well, like I've hated people for how they have treated me and stuff like that.
Because of what you do, or because of your personality, or because of what?
Well, hate is a human emotion. Everyone has it.
I don't have hate. 0%.
Okay, good. No, I believe like you can have hate. It's just that it's a very intense emotion, and you need to figure out why you have hate. And then once you start learning about yourself, you start learning to not hate, if that makes sense. Like, you can still say, oh, I hate this, and not really hate it, because hate is very intense, right? But if you have felt hate in some part of your life, that doesn't mean you are a bad person. So I have felt hate for someone who has hurt me a lot, like, and I wish the worst to them. But once I sat down and figured out why I was hurt, yes, they are still wrong, but I just don't hate them anymore. I just cannot hold that energy for too long. And I'm not gonna give that power to someone. I deserve better. So it's not like, so yeah, I do get this intense anger stuff, but you need to learn to let it go. And if you don't want to let it go, just don't let it consume your life. I'm not gonna tell you to not feel emotions.
Wow.
Just don't punch a hole in the wall, you know.
Wow, you made my day today. But
well, if there's one advice for people who want to practice the craft is,
can you look at the camera?
Do not jump into spell work. You need to first learn the basics. You need to learn grounding and centering and all that stuff. You need to learn to call upon the energy around you. And can I recommend a book?
Yeah, of course.
A good book to start the basic with is called Psychic Witch by Matt Thorn. Yes, it is a very good book to start with. But before you do that, please know the history of the craft and know what happened to it, where it comes from. Learn about your culture and what your culture says. And if you follow a religion, see what your religion says and if you're still comfortable following the craft. Because not all religions are okay with it.
Amazing. So I heard you're writing a book. When is it coming out so that I'd love to read that book?
I don't know. I'm writing so many things at the same time and I don't get time to sit and write. I will, as soon as it's out, I'll let you know.
Okay, amazing. This was an amazing episode 2. So make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button for the algorithm so that more people can watch the podcast for educational purposes. And then yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Okay.